the biggest headline of the day is the fact that we've seen a breakthrough as far as Gaza is concerned, with Trump's peace plan actually setting in motion the release of hostages. 20 hostages have made it back from Gaza. Let's round up for you all the updates before we take a glimpse of what Trump had to say. First, you had these images of cheering crowds greeting freed, released prisoners in Betunia, many hugging their loved ones as well. The prisoners released, remember, includes 250 people who were serving life sentences for convictions in attacks on Israelis. It was an exchange of sorts. 1,700 were seized from Gaza during the war and held without charge. So Israel too released many prisoners. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu gifted this particular idol. It was a golden peace dove to US President Donald Trump. This was to symbolize the fact that Trump ensured peace in West Asia. And this was the gift that Netanyahu greeted President Trump with. US President Donald Trump in the Israeli parliament there, receiving a standing ovation where he was welcomed with prolonged applause, warm appreciation from lawmakers. You had several representatives from America as well. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, was there. The Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, and many others. As Trump stood up to speech, there was a disruption that took place. Two Israeli parliamentarians stood up. They were pro-Gaza members who raised a sign and then said genocide during Trump's speech. They were immediately removed by the speaker. Netanyahu delivered a deeply emotional, defiant speech and, above all else, was seen praising Trump constantly in his address for his unwavering support for Israel and his leadership in regional security. And let's also take you through some of those images of hostages being released by Hamas, in which you saw many people meeting their families after a long time, and therefore extremely emotional footage that came in of the hostages finally touching down in their home soil. And some of the released Israeli hostages also first touched down at a medical center. They were released by Hamas as part of that ceasefire agreement, all of them beaming, smiling, waving as they were waiting to meet with their family members. So let's get you some of the highlights from what happened in the Israeli parliament. We'll play out for you what, in fact, US President Donald Trump had to say in his over 1 hour, nearly 90-minute long speech that he gave in the Israeli parliament. Listen in to some of those highlights.
Harrowing years in darkness and captivity. 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism, whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So this long and difficult war has now ended. You know, some people say 3,000 years, some people say 500 years, whatever it is. It's the granddaddy of them all. And in an unprecedented achievement, virtually the entire region has endorsed the plan that Gaza will be immediately demilitarized, that Hamas will be disarmed, and Israel's security will no longer be threatened in any way, shape, or form. The world is loving Israel again, and I said to Bibi, you know, the world is big and it's strong, And Ron, ultimately, the world wins. And we don't have to worry about that now. But there was getting to be a period of time over the last few months, you know, the world wanted peace and Israel wanted peace. Everybody did. Everybody did. And what a victory it's been, right? What a victory it's been. If you would have gone on for 3, 4 more years, keep fighting, it was getting bad. It was getting heated. The timing of this is brilliant. And I said, Bibi, you're going to be remembered for this far more than if you kept this thing going, kill. It would be it would not be the same. And I just want to congratulate you for having the courage to say, that's it, we've won, and now let's enjoy our lives and let's rebuild Israel and make it stronger and bigger and better than it's ever been before.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House. No American president has ever done more for Israel. And as I said in Washington, it ain't even close. It's really not a match. At the beginning of the war, I promised to bring all the hostages home. Today, with the indispensable help, the determined and focused help, the unremitting help of President Trump and his team, and with the incredible sacrifice and courage of the soldiers of Israel, we are fulfilling that promise. Israel achieved amazing victories over Hamas and the entire Iran terror axis. Sinwar, Dev, Hania, Nasrallah, Assad, they're all gone. But the price of this victory, the price of these victories, has been heavy. Nearly 2,000 of Israel's finest were lost, nearly half in battle. They left behind parents, spouses, siblings, and children. Their love and laughter, their promise and potential were lost forever.
So phase 1 of the Gaza peace plan successful. Let's hope that we see it through and we see peace finally in Gaza. We're going to continue tracking, of course, all of those updates, but that's all we have time for in this edition of Super 6. Thanks very much for tuning in.